good running weather this week in case anybody was...
Oh no, Carrie, I'm very sorry for your no good running weather.
Dice.
Well, this was the week I was going to start running. I turned 31 and, it just seemed like the thing to do. And then it rained all week.
I was going to start running.
The earth is literally mourning for the fact that I'm 31 and I was going to start running.
That's right.
You sure?
The earth is mourning that I turned 31.
Yes. Maybe not that you were going to start running, but they are definitely mourning that you're old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As are the rest of us. Just me.
Oh, one mechanic thing.
Yes.
Before we start recording, because of y'all losing... Well, yes. Before we
the crew theme.
start doing things...
I put it in all caps on my page that we needed a new crew theme.
No, you will not get a new crew theme.
We will not get a new crew theme. But you'll get a donut nose.
But we should be the secret agent people now for no reason.
Secret agent man. Secret agent man. This is going to be good. I'm feeling
Since the crew lost their theme, you each get 4 help and hurt points.
Oh, that's right.
You may distribute these between everybody as you see fit, but every single person must get at least 1. Tessa, Carrie, are you getting pencils? Yeah. Thank you.
I'm going to give Tessa 3 hurt points. And Esther
Faye.
1
Not
health.
Tessa.
Sorry.
Faye.
I love Tessa. I don't love Faye.
We are coming into this session with very clear player character lines.
Hello, friends. My name is Adam, and you are listening to the Misconceptions podcast.
Welcome to the Weekly News. I'm Jack Branson, and this is your city. A few nights ago, a water treatment plant on Blanco Street exploded. City officials have claimed that the cause of the explosion was a gas main leak, and that necessary precautions to prevent further interruptions like this have been taken. A statement from Mayor Hamill's office reads, "Residents on Blanco Street and across the city can rest easy." Last night, city park-goer festivities were interrupted by the sounds of gunfire from deeper in the park. Further investigation has revealed that the sounds were fireworks set off by delinquents to frighten park-roaming citizens. In more uplifting news, the city has sold a large swath of public property. The sale will fund many grants and facelifts to public services across the city. Protesters of the sale have brought up human rights violations, and they fear where unhoused citizens will live. But the mayor's office wants to assure the public that this is a step in the right direction for the city as a whole. I'm getting word now from the mayor's office. Mayor Pip Hamill has collapsed. He is being taken to the hospital immediately. We will keep you updated on this developing... I'm getting more word now. I'm being told that all the missing children that have gone missing over the past year have been found. Our reporter, Kit Myers, is on site now. Let's cut to Kit for more information about this awe-inspiring situation. Kit? Previously on Misconceptions. The crew... God, what happened?
So flinging, hard to open.
Flinging. Previously on Misconceptions, the crew had tracked down Linda Lockwood, tracking her down to the candy-colored house of her upbringing. And while there, they found Pip alive and very unwell, held together by stitches of magic and surgery, and they found dozens of gingerbread Pips just waiting to be activated to take Pip's place. They found a catatonic Logan, or I guess an unresponsive Logan, the brother of Linda Lockwood. And while investigating, Linda appeared with the wolf in tow. A fight broke out, And then Faye arrived with her newly accepted mantle of protector of the garden, teleporting to the site instantaneously through a tree. And upon arriving, Faye went full Avatar, opening herself up to Maid Marian and the story of Maid Marian to gain access to all sorts of awe-inspiring powers to help her defeat Linda and Logan. Meanwhile, Mohammed was looking for Woodard and jumped into an oven to find him, and in this oven found a breadcrumb trail of memories left behind by Linda. Memories of Linda's childhood with her brother Logan under the thumb of an abusive witch that used to live in this home. And at the same time, we got to see Mohammed's story unfold as he was welcomed in by Woodard and Woodard's grandmother and grew up with Woodard and eventually became the pro bono lawyers, but also the out-of-the-law vigilantes that they are now. Outside, Linda was defeated. Esther was about to kill Linda, but Mohammed intervened and talked Esther down. And after talking Esther down, it was Faye that dealt the fatal blow to Linda, using the earth around her to crush her. And as soon as Linda died, all of her magic dissipated. Her magical spells that kept Pip alive, her magical spells that kept the Rat Pack hidden away from the city, her magical spells that kept Logan, or the soul of Logan, in the gingerbread homunculus that was the wolf, all of it undone. It is the beginning of a new recording session, so that means it is time for our end game roll. Currently, you are rolling with an encroaching danger 4 status. Whoever wants to roll the end game move, please roll 2d6 with a +4 and tell me what you get.
Go for it.
Christian is rolling.
Surely don't want me to roll.
Oof. That's a 15.
A 15.
I don't know what that means.
Excellent.
It's a 15.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
the +4. I was like, that's 11, and I'm bad at math. I was
Yes,
like,
Carrie,
Christian,
I know.
you get a 15 on 2d6. I was very confused and concerned.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
So the encroaching danger 4 status will step up by 3 pips. It is 1 away from being the
Pip.
encroaching danger 5 status.
Oh, okay.
Pippity pip, pip, pip.
It does still use pips. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. 3 things are going to happen around the city connected to that and connected to the Cabal's endgame. And also,
One of them is dead.
yes. A lot of them are dead. Actually, only 2 of them are alive.
Wow.
But yes, also at the end of last session, the crew lost their crew theme. And as per the rules, whenever you lose a crew theme, it has disastrous consequences for you and your teammates. So without going into the nitty-gritty, everybody, all the players at this table got 4 help and hurt points that they could divide as needed. Let's go around the table. Tell us, where did those help and hurt points go? Tessa, where'd they go?
I gave 2 to Esther because she was also willing for a moment at least to kill Linda with me. And 2 help points, sorry. And I gave 2 hurt points to Mohammed because he was just being a real buzzkill.
Oh no.
Stop harshing my murdering vibe, dude.
My bad.
Okay, Christian, what did you do?
I gave 2 help points to Esther because she has been she listened to me.
Mm.
And she's not a murdering psycho right now.
Right now.
Right now.
We'll
and then
see
Faye, I gave 2 hurt points because she's a murdering psycho.
Right now.
Right now.
And then Carrie, what'd you do?
I gave Faye 1 help point because I'm not hating it.
Mm-hmm.
And 1 hurt point because too crazy a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave Mohammed 2 help points because,
Okay. Because y'all went into that house together and investigated it together.
Yeah, neither of us died.
We failed.
That's true. All right. Well, with that out of the way, let's get to the episode. This episode opens up in the cottage. We see a long shot of Faye and Woodard's living room. But everything seems a little more gray and dreary than usual. Sure, there's still the plants, the beautiful flowers, the festive throws over the couches, but the 3 figures in the cottage just seem slumped and defeated. Esther and Mohammed, I would like for you to take a moment and describe what does the audience see as the camera slowly pans through the kitchen towards the living room.
You see Mohammed come out of a side bedroom and gently close the door before walking to the kitchen, opening up the freezer and pulling out a just like oven baked pizza, walking over to the oven, turning it on to preheat.
Esther is sitting on the couch and she has a blanket wrapped around her, almost like you would see somebody like after a traumatic event that's like been in shock, and so they're like kind of wrapped up like that. And she has a mug, and she's just like staring into the mug.
And Woodard stands by the mantle of the fireplace, one hand on his hips, the other in a fist with his knuckles folded against his forehead, with his elbow resting on the mantle. Just very pensive and quiet. And the audience may notice that Faye is not present in this scene. And we have this awkward silence between these 3. And Woodard says, "So she just killed them."
I mean, yeah, if you want to put it in simple terms. But it was more complex than that. She didn't just come in and murder them.
Well, I'm sure Faye is not a murderer. She is, in our line of work, there is a certain amount of violence that happens, but she has never killed an unarmed, Lynn, but that was thinking that there was something more nefarious going on, so he moves his knuckles to his mouth and kind of bites on one of his knuckles, deep in thought.
Mohammed has been leaning on the barrier between the kitchen and the front room. Something's different about her. I don't know what's going on, but she's not right.
Esther takes a sip of her drink.
Well, is it such a bad thing? Weren't Linda and Logan bad people?
If you want it to be simple, then yes. But it's never quite that simple.
They were a product of their environment. You or I could have turned out the same way. Things were different.
Yes, but we didn't. They did.
Esther kind of tilts her head and shrugs.
Environment, upbringing, or whatnot, we all have some level of culpability for our actions. But still, for Faye to do this, that's what bothers me.
We've all been changed.
His abilities, this mist. Sometimes I wish I'd never seen through it.
What do you mean, Mohammed?
Don't you think it would be better to be ignorant of all of this? Just live our lives.
Easier, mayhaps, but we would be unaware. we'd be oblivious. As we are now, we are aware, we have powers, we have the ability to do something, to make this place better.
You're right. We do. We'll see it through.
Mohammed, how's your shoulder?
Kind of flexes it a bit. It's fine. I've had worse.
Woodard walks down the hall to the bathroom, out of shot. You hear the medicine cabinet open up. He walks back holding some gauze and some pain medicine, and he walks over to Mohammed and just kind of awkwardly holds it out and says, I actually have no idea what to do with this. Usually it's Faye who, yeah.
I've been patching you up long before Faye came around. I got it. Starts wrapping it. Pops a couple of bills.
Esther, what are you doing?
Wishing somebody would wrap me up. Just kidding. Esther's gonna stand up and walk over to the door and open it and look outside.
Okay. Esther, you open up the door. The light from outside streams in through...
Oh, not the sunlight. She closes it.
Sure.
Esther's a vampire now.
But the light streams in, and you see like the little dust and dirt mites floating in the air. And then over Esther's shoulder, we see Faye. Faye, could you describe what do we see outside?
Faye is facing away from the cottage, clearly in her own headspace. She still has this glow about her. She still has this kind of regal outfit and flower crown on that you saw in the last scene when she came out of the tree. And Faye is just slightly moving her hands in the air with her fingers slightly bent, and you're seeing trees bend and come back up, and branches connect and retreat. And you just see Faye talking to herself. You can't quite make out what she's saying, but she's muttering as if she's thinking out loud as she mindlessly moves nature back and forth.
Do you do anything standing in the doorway, Esther?
I twist my ring on my finger, and I'm wanting to sense Faye's surface thoughts.
Ooh, interesting. Tessa, I'll ask you this. Does Faye allow Esther to read her surface thoughts?
Yeah, I think Faye is in her own element enough that she doesn't care.
Okay.
If Esther reads her surface thoughts.
Okay. So, Faye, what does Esther sense?
Esther gets a sense of determination. It's very clear that Faye isn't feeling remorseful or guilt. She feels focused, and just this overwhelming sense of the need to make things right. And by make things right, I mean make the system right.
Yeah, and I think what Esther senses in Faye is this sort of unfettered determination and power. I said unfettered, but unfettered from Faye's usual apprehension or caution, or whatever the word is for wanting to please everyone. She is free of that. and now she is more in a line with nature, a system that does not take into account the feelings of anybody. Nature just is. And I think Faye is feeling a sort of liberation and unfettered freedom that she has never felt before, both in power and in emotion.
Yes.
I think Woodard appears at your shoulder. Oh, do you have some?
I was just going to say, Esther got a lot from this.
Yeah, no. Usually we just go around the table and say one word.
But Esther and Faye have been...
Yes.
They've been through some shit.
Esther knows.
It's less that she's getting her feelings and more that she's getting the lack of Faye.
Yes.
Yeah. When Esther tries to sense Faye, does she even sense Faye? Yeah, good point. I think Woodard appears at your shoulder. Should I say? Should I talk to her?
All I'm going to say is she's different, and you've got to be careful.
All right.
Don't screw it up, big guy. And
You
she
say that
pushes
as you
him.
push him out the door. Okay. Woodard tenderfootedly walks over to where Faye is, kind of stopping a few feet back. Yes, Carrie?
I was just like picturing like the Superman episode last night where it's like, okay, like I'm just gonna walk away so like y'all can have your moment and like,
And then,
but I'm
stop
like
a few
I'm
feet
still
away.
I'm still here to watch. I just like
Yeah.
I'm not going all the way
Yeah,
away.
I'm not leaving. I'm just
I'm
step
gonna stay in
over
the
here.
shot, but
Yeah.
So Esther's still in the background, just like,
I'm in the doorway. I'm
nice.
watching.
And Esther sees Mohammed kind of go up to the window and just
Open up the blinds.
Okay, good. Everybody's just watching.
Yeah, everybody's here. Everybody's involved. Okay. So Woodard walks up a few feet behind Faye and stops.
Yes, Woodard.
How do you feel, darling?
I feel fine. Do you not feel fine?
Well, I actually feel surprisingly well, considering I was stuffed inside of an oven that opened up into a extra dimensional space. And, dear, the others are a little worried about what happened earlier.
Faye hasn't been looking at Woodard. She's still been faced away from him, so she turns slightly. Worried about what?
Well, the decisive and deliberate action you took against Linda. You killed her, Faye.
Wouldn't you have?
He hesitates. That's not the point. I don't think you would have.
We're fighting a war, Woodard. They had trapped children. They're not good people. I helped more people than I hurt.
Yes, I can't argue with that. I'm not concerned with all the people that you helped. I'm more concerned with you. And he steps forward and places a hand on your arm. I'm more concerned with your safety.
And usually Faye would lean in or wrap her arm, around him and lean in for a hug. But she just stands there with his hand on her arm. I'm not worried about my safety.
Very well then. He lets his arm fall down. Good chat. Do you want to come inside? Esther and Mohammed are inside. We could perhaps brew some tea and sit down.
I don't know if there's any need to sit down. I mean, we know what we're going after, and we have someone to go take down. But I can come inside and we can make up a plan.
Yes, that sounds lovely.
And Faye walks past him as he's in the middle of that sentence and walks by Esther and nods to her as a soldier would to another soldier.
Mm-hmm. You see Mohammed scramble and get on a couch.
And I think Woodard is like left in the frame for a few moments, just kind of like rubbing his index and middle finger against his thumb, just like absently by his side, biting his lip. And then he nods and quickly follows after you.
So Woodard said something that we should all brew tea and chat. I believe we know what we're going after next.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Mohammed's just sitting there, like, eyes going back and forth between Faye and Esther, just like Christians are between Carrie right now.
And Woodard is standing awkwardly in the kitchen. Earl Grey, then. Don't worry, I'll make it. Sure, I can find the tea bag somewhere.
Please note that Faye does not create tea out of tea bags. Make tea out of tea bags. It's all like with the plants that she has lined in the kitchen.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
That are not labeled.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Woodard begins opening up the cabinets looking for tea bags.
As he's doing that, he hears Esther from the other room. She doesn't make it out of tea bags.
At that, Faye turns and looks towards the kitchen. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you serious about the tea?
Oh, yes, I thought it would just calm everyone's nerves.
Oh, well, my nerves are fine, but here, move. And Faye goes in there and grabs the leaves, makes the tea, brings it back out to everyone.
I think while you're like in there doing the tea, Woodard kind of walks onto the living room. A little help would be appreciated.
What do you want us to do?
I don't know what to tell you, man.
She's acting like a completely different person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I
That's what we
told you that. I mean, I don't hate it.
I kinda hate it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily love it. It's not the... Well, precisely, it's not the woman I married.
Wait a minute. Do y'all not like me?
I mean, you're usually like this.
Woodard says nothing.
Oh, well. I'm going to go into the kitchen.
Yes, Esther.
Do you need any help with that?
No, I'm just about done. Do you want some?
Sure.
Okay. Faye, stirs it a little bit more and then pours a cup and hands it to Esther and stands very properly.
Mm-hmm. Are you sure you're okay?
I'm okay, though everyone else seems very concerned.
Yeah, I think it's because you're acting more like me than you are yourself.
People seem to like you just fine.
That's a stretch. Yeah, because that's what they expect from me. Look, I'm not hating the new vibe, but it's kind of freaking everybody else out. What's changed?
You see Faye contemplating for a minute. I know you know me best, Esther. And she looks confused. You see, it's almost as if Faye is flashing between two different people. In just the way that her eyes look, from like just very hardened to more soft, back to hardened to soft. I am who I was meant to be. I don't know what to tell you. If that has changed me, then that has changed me, but this is who I was born to be.
Okay.
Great. Shall we?
Esther sticks out her hand for Faye to lead the way.
Faye brings the tea into the living room. For those whose nerves are high, it's tea.
Thank you, dear.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Faye, nods her head, and is just looking around at everyone wide-eyed, what's we doing?
Mohammed never makes eye contact with Faye. Not once.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you all, drink some tea. I'm gonna go anywhere else. And Faye walks back to her and Woodard's bedroom.
Does she go in and close the door?
Yeah.
Well, that was not productive. We took her from one place and put her in the other, and none of us are in there with her.
I think she's just focused on what needs to happen to end this.
I suppose so.
And I think we've all been there, so I think we just have to focus and take care of it.
Yes. Perhaps to make progress, we must progress.
That was deep.
Yeah. Let's eat something, and then I
But
guess
first,
we can go.
pizza.
Yeah. Woodard goes into the room. Where does he find Faye in the room?
There's a desk, in the corner, and Faye is writing out different ideas of next steps. And she hears the door open and turns.
Woodard is standing there in the doorway. Pizza's ready.
Okay.
He meanders into the room, going to the other side of the room, his side of the room. He kind of sits down on the bed with his back to you. There's a few moments of silence. And he pulls open his bedside drawer table. And he pulls out a parcel of letters held together by twine. And he says, Faye, before you even met me, you knew me. In the way that only two souls that have been intrinsically intertwined through time can. And I knew you. Whenever you appeared at our doorstep, I looked at you once and I knew who you were. My soul knew who you were, and he stands up and looks at you holding the letters in both hands. And darling, when I look at you right now, my soul does not know who you are. And I don't even know if you know who you are. He kind of taps the letters. You wrote these to me. Or rather to the idea of me, but then again, you knew me before we even met. These are letters. He walks over and sets them on the corner of the bed closest to you. Some light reading material. I love you. And he doesn't wait for an answer, because in a way he doesn't expect an answer right now. But he walks out the bedroom and kind of just closes it behind him gently.
For the first time since Faye stepped out of the tree onto Linda's property, you see her eyes soften, and you see a sense of heartbreak as Woodard walks out, and then Faye slowly stands up, picks up the letters on the corner of the bed, and reads them one by one. You see tears coming to her eyes, and you see emotion returning. And Faye, after many minutes of being back there reading through the letters, she takes a deep breath, and she walks out into the living room. Where is Woodard?
I think Woodard is at the table with Mohammed and Esther, and it took you a while to finish this, so I think they have saved you like 2 slices of the frozen pizza.
Faye notices that, walks over to that spot, puts her hand on the chair, hasn't made eye contact with anyone yet, and then looks up, and you just see tears streaming down her face. And she looks over at Woodard. And then she looks at Esther and Mohammed. What did I do? And then she breaks down and starts sobbing.
And I think as she starts weeping, I think the camera pans through the kitchen window out into the surrounding forest, and I think we see like the splatter of raindrops on the window as drizzle starts to pour outside the house. And we cut away from that scene.
Hello friends and welcome to the mid-roll section of episode 90 of Misconceptions. I'm your host, David White, and I hope that you're enjoying this episode. Let's get to some show notes and some housekeeping stuff before we get back to the episode proper. First up, big news, everybody. To celebrate the end of Misconceptions, we are releasing a Misconceptions t-shirt on our website, Mistconceptionspod.com. And right now, there is a pre-order going on for that shirt on our website. So go ahead and go to Mistconceptionspod.com and pre-order this shirt. It is going to be printed on super soft fabric because Carrie will not let me print it on any other type of shirt. She wants all of her shirts to be super soft, so that means you are going to get a super soft shirt with the Misconceptions logo on the chest, and you can represent your favorite City of Mist actual play out in the world by wearing this shirt. We are going to run this pre-order from now until the 30th. And then I'm going to spend the week of the 30th ordering the shirts, getting them here, sending them to the people that pre-ordered them, and then putting up the rest of the shirts that we're able to afford on our site for people to buy. So the thing about this is, the more people we have pre-order a shirt, the more shirts we can have to give you later. So if you're interested, definitely go ahead and pre-order now. And super good news, if you're a patron, you have a discount to this t-shirt. If you're a patron, you get a discount code that gives you free shipping on this pre-order. And if you're a $30 and up patron, you already get a 10% off coupon every month to our Misconceptions Pod merch store. And that will go towards this pre-order if you want it. So, this shirt, definitely go and get it. That Misconceptions shirt pre-order is going to be running through August 30th. And like I said, Misconceptions is coming to an end. I've been saying it for the past couple of episodes. And we are getting ready to record our Geek Out After the Series session, where I sit down with everybody and we talk about the show, our feelings, plot threads, plot holes, and also just answering questions that the cast has, but also answering questions that you have about the show. So if you have any questions about the show that you would like to see answered, please email us at misconceptionspod@gmail.com or go to our Discord and post in our Burning Questions channel. As you know, this show is fully supported by the generous monthly donations of our patrons on Patreon. I say that during the end roll of every episode, but I really do mean that. We would not be able to do what we do without our patrons. Misconceptions 2 is currently in production. I am able to pay our performers with the proceeds from our Patreon. If we did not have you, if we did not have our patrons supporting us, Misconceptions 2, I'll say it. Misconceptions 2 would not be happening, flat out. So, patrons, thank you so much for supporting us. And, just because Misconceptions 1 is ending, doesn't mean that it's too late to jump on our Patreon, because like I said, our Patreon is currently paying our performers for Misconceptions 2. It's paying for our website that we're doing this pre-order on. It's paying for our sound effects that we put in all of our shows. It's paying our editors for the work that they do on Misconceptions, Sins of the Father, and our patron-only show, Side Quest. So If you're like, you know what, I'm in kind of a good financial place now, I can afford to give to Misconceptions. Oh, wait, the show's ending. There's really no reason to. Yes, there is. Because even though Misconceptions is ending, our Patreon is not. And our need for money to keep this show going and all of our shows going has not ended. So, if you like this show, if you want to see all of our shows, this entire network improve and get better, please go to our Patreon and help us in any amount you can. Currently, we are trying to get back to our $500 a month level where we can afford to sustainably pay our editors for every episode they edit. We took a big hit. We fell way below that $500 a month goal, and I really want to get back to that goal so I can continue to pay the editors for the hard work they do after hours. And that's all the show notes stuff. Definitely go check out our pre-order on misconceptionspod.com. Get that shirt to you and feel its sweet, sweet threads upon your skin. And with that totally awkward comment out of the way, let's get back to the episode.
A new scene opens up, the same cottage, but it is the next morning. Birds are chirping in the distance. There is a orange glow on the cottage, and inside we see the four of you sitting around the living room. What are y'all doing? Or do we cut to before that?
No, I feel that's good.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, what were you saying?
Well, Esther, when she comes into the room, she's moving a little slow.
On account of her many injuries.
On account of being very injured. And she just kind of walks in. What's with the birds here?
I'm sorry?
They just chirp incessantly in the morning.
The happy, Esther.
But why?
Because it's a new day. Nature is alive. They have a safe place to be. They love the world and each other.
It's just obnoxious.
So normally Mohammed's up before most everyone. Maybe Faye might be up earlier. I don't know. But this time he's just been sitting in his room. He slept in a chair. He hears Faye and Esther kind of arguing in their playful, normal way.
Playful about it.
Okay, but in their normal way, their
It's
banter,
playful for Faye, yes.
and he kind of half smiles, but it's still like a sad smile. And he gets up and walks out into the room with them. Do we have a plan? What are we doing?
Good morning. Would you like some breakfast and tea? Blum, blum, blum. Good morning.
Breakfast and tea.
Breakfast and tea.
Would you like some breakfast and tea?
Breakfast and tea for you, sir. Good day.
Good day.
Good morning, Mohammed. Would you like some breakfast? Or tea?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. Faye goes to get it, talking to herself. Not sure why that took so much thought, but she brings out just normal stuff that...
Just Captain
Fresh-
Crunch.
Just
Fresh fruit and eggs.
perfect.
Perfect.
What do people eat?
What's
She
breakfast,
doesn't
everybody?
know.
But yeah, so Faye brings out stuff, and this is not a new routine. So, Faye, there's a table that she usually puts the breakfast and the tea and the snacks on, because Faye, of course, has snacks. And then sits down in the living room with her own tea. You said something about a plan.
Well, we know we got to take on DeSantos, so...
Does the name Drace dos Santos mean anything to you?
Of course. I mean, Drace DeSantos is the CEO of Legendary Solutions. He has his hands in multiple endeavors. He is the richest of the upper elite. I mean, he has always been on my list, but I never thought I would get to him for many, many years. He is at the top of many food chains.
Well, we are also at the top of many food chains.
Woodard squints his eyes and nods. Okay, honey.
Faye looks expectantly at everyone. So do we know where he lives? Is this common knowledge?
We know where he works.
Oh, sure. People don't work from home in this world. I forgot.
I mean, he's a CEO. How much
He probably has
work
an
is he really
office.
doing? He's just profiting off of the indentured servitude of his employees.
All right. Well, so how do we get to him?
I agree with you, honey.
An elevator.
Yes.
Yes, very funny, Mohammed.
Well, yes, we certainly could, but two of you are some of the most wanted people in the city, and I would assume by now, Drace DeSantos must know that we're coming for him. I mean, Linda was his lieutenant, correct? As second in command to this entire operation. Surely he must know she's dead.
Which means we need to move quicker.
She has a point. We need to get there. Because he's going to be moving into his endgame.
Yes.
But
Got him.
As per the move. Yes, both Linda and Miss Minnie seemed adamant that the Cabal was very near doing what they needed to do.
oh, there's something I need to tell you all that I'm not sure I have brought up. Because it all happened very quickly. When I left the car, when we were going to save Woodard, and she, taps Woodard's leg as she says this, and I ran into the forest.
Mohammed has a very sour look on his face about this whole thing.
I know, Mohammed, but it ended up working out. I knew you'd save Woodard. Anyways, so I ran into the woods, right, and I found a similar group to the group that attacked Bill's Island in the forest with Lisa, and she had killed them all, and had also... She didn't survive either, but she survived long enough to crown me defender of the garden, which is why I now have a flower crown. This is the flower crown of the defender of nature. And that is...
Sorry.
No, but I feel like that's a real reaction. That is why I was able to walk out through a tree. We seem to have skipped over that part of the adventure. So, if we ever need a place to go to, one, we can all disappear in the forest and nobody can see us because I am the forest. And also, we can walk through trees to get to places.
I would like somebody to make a Emperor Palpatine meme with Faye's face imposed on it saying, I am the forest. I am the forest.
Esther wants to get up and walk outside and try to walk through a tree.
Uh-huh. So it's true.
Yeah, Esther's gonna get up and walk outside and try to walk through a tree.
Okay. You don't.
Esther walks back inside. I don't think that it works.
I didn't bestow the power onto you. You have to be with me.
I don't need you to bestow anything on me.
I was also thinking that, like...
Bestow these nuts on you.
Got him.
Ow.
Oh my gosh.
I was also assuming that, like, you traveled via trees back to the cottage.
Yeah. I mean,
that was just an assumption on me.
We did have Mohammed's car with us.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't leave his car there.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair. I just thought Faye would be like, I do not use automobiles because they are gas and pollution. I will travel through the trees.
Faith traveled through the trees.
No, that's fair.
I mean, that's highly possible, but she still didn't tell them about Lisa.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. All right, keep going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Questions. She looks at Woodard, too.
I mean, that will make getting to Legendary Solutions Plaza much more expedient. Do you know, can you, like, sense trees? Is there a tree in Trace DeSantos' office we could teleport to? I mean, rich and...
We're just gonna walk through his spikes.
Rich and bougie people have things like that.
Dear, I don't think he has a full tree in his office.
Very well.
But I can certainly check.
I mean, it was just an idea. There's no bad ideas in brainstorming.
That's not entirely true.
Well, okay.
She's right.
But yes, I will check for trees in...
Roll a check for trees for me.
It's a new move from the new nature book of City of Mist.
It's a new move. You roll nothing and add nothing, and it does nothing.
I'm so sorry, dear. I wasn't able to tell.
Alright. I'll say it was a good idea, but apparently everyone disagrees with me. Very well. We have a dragon. We have a castle.
We don't have a dragon.
Well,
if we had a dragon, this would all go very differently.
Very well. There is a dragon. There is a castle. We shall storm it. Sound good?
Yes, Buttercup.
So, should we get, like, I don't know, fire retardant clothes?
That's not a bad idea.
I mean, if he's a dragon.
Yeah,
He's not necessarily a fire-breathing dragon. Do all dragons breathe fire?
How do we make flame retardant clothing? I mean, I have a flower crown. So,
That's gonna catch on fire.
correct.
we could rob a fire station.
Well, that's problematic.
That seems
Don't
like it
love
would be
that idea.
heavy. Just show up and
Just firefighter kids.
firefighter.
What's up?
We're gonna fight your dragon.
So, bitch, come get some.
Love this episode.
I'm gonna catch this
After
fire
the last
truck.
one, this is ridiculous.
We need to cope with humor.
Yes.
Anyway, seriously.
So, I suppose we should prepare ourselves then. Make any necessary preparations we need for storming the castle of a little dragon.
Preparing ourselves with preparation.
And if there's anywhere Esther needs to go to do her preparation, you can borrow Mohammed's car.
Nope, I'm all prepped.
Well. Let's cut from that scene. To each of you, I would like to go around the table. Each of you describe for me what may potentially be the last photo montage of Mistconceptions.
It's the final countdown.
It's not getting the MCA.
So, you can give attention to your logos, you can work the case, you can explore your mythos, you can prepare for your next activity, or you can recover from your last activity. What would everyone like to do? Also, Faye, you have a guilty status that's been lingering around since Lynn. I don't think you have that one anymore.
Agreed.
Mohammed and Esther, you both have lots of injuries.
I'm at 4, yeah.
I would say, like, describe what you do, and like if appropriate, we'll say, okay, it's all gone. Because who knows how long this preparation's gonna take? Like if it's a couple days, couple hours, same day, whatever.
Sure. Mohammed is gonna call a friend of his in Woodard's, who he's helped out on a few cases, who is their field doctor, and he's gonna call him up, so he can come to the house and fix their wounds.
Yeah. And we have the scene, the dramatic music is playing underneath, and we see a shot of like a doctor standing behind Mohammed's muscly body, and he's just running like a sewing needle through the wound and putting it all together, wrapping you up, kind of like just this prep sequence. Do you want to add anything to that, Mohammed? Anything that Mohammed is doing especially?
Mohammed is wrapping up his knuckles, like almost like a boxer, and kind of flexing his knuckles a bit while doing it. The doctor fixes him up. He kind of goes outside and has some like firewood set up on a stump, and he's kind of shifting his arm into the bear claw and just shattering firewood, just prepping as best he can, and then you see him just gearing up into his purple hoodie and all that. The event.
I love it. Let's cut over to Esther. Esther, what are you doing?
She's stepping out of the shower, and she's like looking at herself in the mirror. For the first time in a long time, she like sees herself in the mirror instead of the daughter of Morty, and she kind of smirks because she's starting to realize that she's her own person and she doesn't have to become her father, and she doesn't have to continue to fight his battle. Like she's coming into her own, and so she's kind of standing a little straighter and she just feels like herself, and she doesn't even know if she's ever felt that way before. And then she is, of course, examining the wounds and taking the steps to bandage up, and but she's just got this new confidence that's come over her, and it's not a confidence that she's hiding behind.
So we see Esther taping herself up, preparing herself, being confident finally in her own skin and her own identity. And then Faye.
Faye is going to prepare for her next activity. So her first juice, she would like to be map of the city. Nature's map of the city. I'll let you decide if this is okay, David. The other 2 juice I would like to do is making her healing potion.
Okay.
And I have 2 of those.
So you want 2
juices.
Okay. You use your juice to get juices. Okay.
Yes. Aha.
And we see Woodard running through the forest, vaulting over things, his shirt off, his body glistening with sweat in the dappled sunlight, doing pull-ups on a limb. We see him tuck and roll and dive and come up with his magical bow and arrow and shoot, sundering a log in twain. We see him going through all of these motions and training. He gets his green hoodie, throws it on, zips it up, throws his hood over his face, pulls the gaiter up over his mouth and nose, and then we cut from that to the 4 of you. A tree opens up, and Faye, Mohammed, Woodard, and Esther step through the tree. Faye, using your map of the nature of the city, found a tree that will open up right next to Legendary Solution Plaza. You step out onto a busy street, and right across is Legendary Solutions Plaza, a monolith of a building of steel and glass, towering above all the other buildings in the city. And at the top is your prey, Drace DeSantos. And as you stand there is a rumbling in the city. You feel everything shake and rumble and quake. People on the street pause and look around. Cars in the street screech to a stop, doors open up, and people get out looking confused, wondering what's happening. And then miles away, you see a stream of mist shoot into the air. Miles in the opposite direction, another stream of mist. And then again and again, these beacons of mist shooting up into the sky, joining and mixing with the clouds above them. And then you see them all start to expand. Just like the water treatment plant at 123 Blanco Street. They conjoin with each other, forming a giant circular wall of mist that meets at Legendary Solutions Plaza and starts to expand outward. You watch as this wall passes by buildings and opens up the sky above it. You see it rushing towards you. You brace yourselves just like you did at 123 Blanco Street. And then all of a sudden the wall stops. You look up and you see giant tattooed hands pressed up against the wall. You follow this line of sight and you see this giant figure covered in tattoos and tribal wear, pressing against the wall, holding it closed. On the other side of the wall, or around this circular wall, you see a second person, a second giant, holding this wall at bay.
You see a third holding the wall at bay. You see 3 of the 4 Bacab holding the circular wall from reaching out into the city. But there is a gap in the wall where a 4th should have been. That side of the wall ruptures. The mist explodes outwards. The 3 Bacab are overcome by the mist. The mist washes past them. And it washes past you. And you are in the city with no more mist. The blood-red sky is above you. Everything is revealed to be its true nature. And from somewhere far overhead, you hear the deep, bellowing roar of a dragon. End of episode. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Misconceptions. We'll be back with our next episode on September 6th. If you have a Facebook or a Twitter, we are on both of those social media platforms, and you can like us and follow us to get up-to-date information about the show, behind-the-scenes pictures, and just silly memes whenever I post them. We also have an email, misconceptionspod@gmail.com, if you would like to contact us that way. We also have a Discord, and if you would like to join that Discord and chat with us directly and chat with other friends of the show, please click the link below. This show is fully supported by the generous monthly donations of our patrons on Patreon. We could not make the show without them. And if you would like to join that elite group of backers, please click the link below and give any amount you can. City of Mist is an RPG created by Son of Oak. You can find more of their products at sonofoak.com. The Misconceptions theme music was composed by Aaron Wharton. You can find more of his music at aaronwharton.net. Misconceptions is a product of the Misconceptions Podcast Network. We only have 2 episodes left, everybody. We're getting very close to the end, and I hope you're ready for it. Keep it nerdy, y'all.